The next step to eliminate a belief is to figure out when you formed it. Most of our beliefs, certainly almost all of our self-esteem beliefs, were formed from events involving your parents that occurred when you were a very young child. Remember, a belief doesn't come from a single event, but from many similar events. And when it's a very broad belief like mistakes and failure are bad, or a belief about yourself like I'm not competent, it's usually formed from experiences you've had with your parents when you were very young. Why are these kinds of beliefs formed from experiences we had with our parents? Well, here are a couple of reasons. 1. When you're a child, Mom and Dad are considered the ultimate authorities on everything. When we're young, we think our parents are perfect and know it all. 2. Also, when you're a child, you tend to personalize the information you receive. If Mom and Dad criticize your behavior, you think it means something about you as a person. An adult might realize that, quote, bad behavior doesn't make a bad person, but children almost never do. Number 3. Most parents have no idea their children are forming these kinds of beliefs when they're growing up. So, inevitably, they will say or do something that a child will interpret negatively. This goes on without a parent's knowledge, so of course they couldn't do anything to change the situation. And 4, like I said in an earlier video, there's a constant conflict between what most parents want and what most children do. Parents usually want their kids to be quiet. Kids are usually not quiet. Parents usually want their kids to be neat. Young children don't even understand the concept of neat. Parents usually want their kids to do what they're told. Kids usually want to do what they want to do. And when kids don't follow instructions, the reaction of their parents ranges from mild annoyance to extreme anger and punishment. By now it may be clear why, despite the fact that your parents loved you, you could still form some negative beliefs based on their behavior. After all, they probably didn't have any advanced parenting training. They could have had a lot of their own beliefs that were affecting their behavior, and they might have had some expectations that were a little too high for someone your age. Given all that, we formed a lot of beliefs in our childhoods that had a negative impact on us later in life. It's not our parents' fault. They did what they did. We gave their behavior meaning that you can eliminate now. The source of the belief I'm not competent for most people is Mom and Dad's annoyance or anger when we didn't do what they want, when they wanted it, or the way they wanted it. Sometimes their reaction is minimal displeasure. Sometimes it's extreme anger and punishment. But in any case, children usually conclude that if Mom and Dad are dissatisfied with me, it must be my fault. And what are the words parents say so often they become a cliche? What's wrong with you? Can't you do the simplest things properly? Can't you do better than that? And what would these words mean to a young child if repeated often enough? I guess I'm just not competent. In some cases, the source of this belief is Mom and Dad doing things for you instead of allowing you to do it on your own. Now, take a look at your early life to see what happened that led you to conclude, I'm not competent. Then, type into the text box below the types of things your parents did and said in your childhood that led you to form the belief, I'm not competent. Rather than writing down how you felt about what happened, describe the actual situations, what your parents actually said and did, such as, my parents often got annoyed or angry at me when I didn't do what they wanted me to do. Take the time you need because this is important. When you're done writing, click Continue. Now the program will pause.